Hey guys, let's talk about last night's episode of the Vampire Diaries. So first let's talk about Stefan, because he is not doing well. At one point, he and Katherine have a conversation, and she pretty much tells him that he's suffering from PTSD, which is probably true. It's like he's almost having these panic attacks as he just remembers drowning over and over again under the water, and he's just not dealing well at all. I'm not quite sure what they're doing in the relationship between Stefan and Katherine, right? Because she ends up helping him by helping him deal with his little panic attack at the same time that he helps her towards the end of the episode when Katherine decides, well, if I'm going to die, I'm going to do it on my own terms, and she decides to jump off a building. Stefan catches her, and my favorite part of the episode was him telling her, look, you're Katherine Pierce, suck it up. Now let us go off to college, because there was some craziness happening there. We get that Dr. Maxfield has been doing all these crazy experiments on probably lots of students, but we've seen him doing them on Jesse. So Jesse manages to escape towards the beginning of the episode, and Caroline finds him before he does any major damage. For most of the episode, I'm thinking, Caroline and Elena are gonna really help him transition, help him learn how to be a functioning vampire without, killing people. But it turns out that not only did Dr. Maxfield turn him into a vampire, Jesse not only craves human blood, the blood he really craves is vampire blood. So the girls are having a party, and Jesse's there trying to transition. He and Caroline are getting a little cozy-wozy, and they're kissing, and he accidentally bites her, and it's like he's going to lose his mind because he wants to drink her blood. So I thought that was interesting, right? Damon is there because he's come for the party, but they sent him off to interrogate Dr. Maxfield. And one of the really kind of interesting moments in this episode, as a Stalena fan, was some of the conversation that went on between Caroline and Elena about Damon. I think we've known all along that Caroline doesn't love the fact that Elena is with Damon, but they finally had this conversation where Caroline told her, look, I don't have a problem with the fact that you're dating him if that's what you want to do, as long as you know who it is that you're dating. And I thought that was such an interesting point, because I love Damon Salvatore, you guys, but at the same time, we all know who Damon is and what he's capable of. And I really thought Caroline made a fantastic point that Elena has overlooked that. There's a big confrontation as Jesse starts to freak out. He runs back to Dr. Maxfield because he really kind of wants to confront him, and he finds Damon there, and then he's hungry, and so he tries to eat Damon. And even though Damon is older, Jesse is just as strong as him because of all the experiments that Dr. Maxfield has done. And so, yeah, it's looking like it's gonna be lights out for Damon, but then Elena shows up and she ends up staking Jesse. Caroline comes at the very last second and basically sees Elena kill Jesse, and she kind of freaks a little, and she says something to her like the old you would have given Jesse a chance. And I don't know, you guys, it felt like Jesse was going to kill Damon, and so Elena needed to do something. So I'm not quite sure. I would love to hear what you guys think about that. Let's talk about Matt for a quick second, because back in Mystic Falls, Katherine actually ends up helping Matt get rid of the traveler that's inside of him. She ends up using some kind of special knife to stab Matt, and when she does that, she's doing it to actually kill Gregor, the traveler that's inside of Matt. Now, her daughter's not so happy about that because she's in love with this guy, but oh well. And before he dies, Gregor does confess that he was also supposed to kill Katherine. And so why the travelers would want Katherine dead is just another question in a long line of questions when it comes to what's going on with Katherine Pierce. On a happier note, let us talk about Jeremy and Bonnie, because boy, where there's some fantastic scenes between the two of them. We really do start to see that Bonnie is kind of straddling the afterlife. We see her in this life, but then we also see glimpses of her on the other side. There was this really interesting conversation she had with this witch that had crossed over an older lady, and as she and Bonnie were talking, it was like you get that she passed her pain on to Bonnie, the pain of her death, and that she was free from that now. And it really seemed like there was a part of Bonnie that kind of accepted, here's this sweet old woman who is a witch, and if I can take away some of her pain, I'm okay with that. There was also some hot and spicy love moments between Jeremy and Bonnie, as of course they can now touch each other, and so they decide they need to do that with their shirts off. Jesse shows up, though, at just the wrong moment, because he's dead and he needs to cross over to the other side. And that's when Jeremy realizes what's going on. I loved it when Bonnie told him, anything is worth, being here with you. It was just so sweet and so nice. And let's talk about Jeremy for a minute, because this man has been working out. You guys, if you have been watching the Vampire Diaries from the beginning, I swear you need to go back to like episode 1, season 1 Jeremy. And he had like that dirty long hair, and he was all like emo, and like he was way tinier. So anytime I look at him now when he takes his shirt off, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you have grown into like a beautiful, beautiful buff man. And it just cracks me up. And then let's talk about the part of the episode that really kind of annoyed me a little bit. And that was towards the end, right? When Damon gets taken. As Damon is torturing Dr. Maxwell, trying to get information out of him, he hears about the Augustine vampire, and that stirs up some sort of memory in him. And so we get that Damon was at one point like Jesse, like some doctor held him captive and did experiments on him. I don't know, you guys. I mean, I get there's no way we know everything that has happened to Damon Salvatore. But at the same time, it was like, this seemed like a pretty major thing. We've never mentioned this before. I don't know. It just felt like they jumped the shark a little bit. So Dr. Maxfield ends up getting the jump on Damon and captures him. And Damon ends up back in a cell. The same cell it looks like that he was in however many years ago. And so I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. Are they going to turn him into the Augustine vampire? I guess we will see. So yeah, you guys, like I said, a good episode. Nothing earth-shattering. But at the same time, I mean, it did feel like the story was moving and there were some kind of interesting things that happened. Okay, you guys, would love to hear what you guys thought about all of this craziness. Down in the comment section below, you should tell me and we can discuss it. And I will see you guys again soon. Bye.